Carolina with Greg T in the morning.
On 103.5 KTU.
103.5, it's KTU, the beat of New York. Today, it is Judy Torres with Greg T in the morning. Again, guys, Carolina will be back with us on Monday. Man, Carolina is going to be upset about this, right, Judy?
Listen, I'm happy to be here to help fill in. This is great. This is great.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, in studio with us right now, it is Dua Lipa. This is nice. I bet you that doesn't get old, right? Everybody's saying your name and then clapping.
It's so fun. It's so much fun.
It's got to be. It's like, okay, I'm here. Ready? Now, Dua Lipa. All right. It's got to be great. Now, yes. Judy, Judy is an artist as well from back in the freestyle days.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it's funny because we were talking about you creating your third album and getting ready to interview you. And, of course, being another artist, she had so many more intimate questions. And I'm like, I don't know anything about that.
Cool.
What did you want to ask her?
So your latest album, Radical Optimism, it's your first album in 4 years, right?
Yeah. So
has anything specific happened in your life that changed in your life that motivated you to do this album?
Well, I guess it took me a long time to really properly start writing for this album because the pandemic really slowed me down.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So my last record came out just at the height of it in March 2020. And then 2 years until I went on tour. And even though I'd started writing for Radical Optimism, I just felt like I wasn't really getting to where I wanted to be sonically and lyrically. And that was probably because I hadn't yet gone on tour and I felt like I needed to go out and experience life. But, I think we were all feeling a little stuck, And I guess in that sense, 2022 was a fun year where it was like a lot of traveling and touring and performing in front of so many people. And I think that was a year where so much life happened. And any time that I had in between, tour stints, I would go into the studio and write for this album. And it was really cathartic and freeing and fun. And I guess in that sense, life was so busy and so hectic and sometimes things would work out the way that I would want them to, and sometimes things wouldn't at all. And that was really, to me, like the essence of Radical Optimism, of just kind of rolling with the punches and just seeing where life takes me, whether it's good or bad. It's like you just have to walk through it. Whatever the thing is, it's going to be a lesson. And yeah, I guess in that sense, I did a lot of growing up in those 4 years.
Where does Barbie, the movie, fit in that timeline of all the cool things to do?
Yeah, so that was also something that I was doing when I was on tour, because I got the call from Mark Ronson to work on the record, and I was touring, and in the meantime, I was also writing my new album, and he was like, you think you could come to New York and we can write this record together? And we can maybe write for your album. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I'll come down. But Barbie just took over. And we were just in Barbie land for ages. And we spent a week writing solely just for Dance the Night. And we went back to it so many times. But it was also in the madness of that year.
Yeah.
And that was also kind of like the last song that I had written that had that kind of disco influence that my last album, Future Nostalgia, had as well.
I got to say, it was a long time since there's been a song that when I hear it, I just think the Barbie movie. Like, it's like, a lot of times these days, the movies come out and there's a song, okay, whatever. But your song, like, it is such a staple. It makes me feel so good and so happy inside. And then I think about that movie Barbie and I'm like, it's just so beautiful. It was a really nice partnership that you had there.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
The Barbie set must have been so much fun and so playful.
Yeah, and it was super inspiring.
So with this album, with the production, with the songwriting, what did you tell yourself? How did you want it to be different for this album? What was your approach?
So again, I guess going back to the touring element, like I started to fall in love more and more with how the record sounded live when I was performing them, more so than the studio versions. And so when I started working on the production and thinking about where I wanted to go stylistically for this new album, I wanted it to be more raw and organic. And I wrote most of it at home in London, and it was in this studio in Kensal Rise, which is just like wooden beams and big windows, and I could look outside and it just felt very earthy. I was just kind of in a place that just felt very at home, and I worked with a small team and we called ourselves the band, and I don't know, it just had kind of a more organic feel to maybe my last record, which is much more polished in a way. And
So you felt more grounded this time?
yeah, I think so.
Sometimes artists put out a song where inside you're saying to yourself, I cannot wait for the fans to hear this one particular song. Like, they're really going to get it. They're going to get me. They're going to know where we're coming from. Is there a song like that on this album that the audience is going to grab and you're going to go, yes?
I think there's a few on the record. I think These Walls and Happy For You. I think Happy For You, that's the closer of the album. It's got just like this, I mean, when you hear it, it's like this beautiful ambient sounds. It really kind of sets a little world for you. And I don't know, it's a lot about growth and maturing. And I feel like when I listen to that song now, I just see how far I've come. So
That's got to be exciting, right? To go back and listen to one of your first albums and then all of a sudden see this album and just say, wow. And it hits you as the artist. You're like, wow, I thought I knew what I was doing then, but look at how much I have matured in the industry, and look how great this new album is. That's got to be an amazing feeling for yourself.
yeah, it's really amazing. And it's, I don't know, something that I'm really grateful for to just see. How much I've grown and changed. I'm definitely not the same person I was when I was working on my first album, for sure.
So on that note, right, your music resonates with your fans on a deep emotional level. If you could convey an emotion or something you want them to walk away with this album, what would you like it to be? What would you hope it would be?
Optimism.
Yes,
Radical optimism for sure.
So
like that is the crux of it, for sure.
So, Dewey, you're here in New York City. A lot of times when we're tourists, so if I go to London, there's got to be something I have to do. So now you're here in New York City. So what do you have to do? You're going to go to a Yankee game? You're going to eat pizza like tourists? What do you do when you come to New York City? Your must-have.
A pizza for sure. That's I did that last night.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So the plane lands, bam, you're like, you make a beeline for pizza.
Yeah.
That's great.
A pizza, I don't know, nothing beats like a New York slice.
Nice.
So pizza for sure. And then, I don't know.
Have you been to a Yankee game? You go to Yankee Stadium?
I have been to Yankee Stadium,
Okay.
but I'm not going to go this time. I'm so
Gotcha.
busy in the lead up to the album. I haven't had the chance. But,
Sure.
You probably just see the hotel.
I see the hotel, but I
airport.
make an effort of like going for a nice dinner and like maybe going for a walk around Brooklyn or like doing
That's cool.
some
Nice,
stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
good.
really
That's
cool.
great.
Get a really a good feel for New York
Yeah.
and hitting up some of the boroughs. That's neat. I like that a lot. That was a very unexpected answer. Okay, let's write that down. Unexpected answer.
Okay, so wait, let me ask a more serious question. So, as an artist, right, when you do a new album, there's always this pressure to outdo yourself or to rise above people's expectations. What is it that you tell yourself? How do you navigate through that type of pressure?
That's a good question. I think, pressure's something that you can't always like alleviate. I think, like regardless how much you try, I think in some way, shape or form, it's always there. But for me, I think the only thing that I'm trying to do is, as long as I'm growing as a songwriter, as an artist, as long as the shows that I get to do grow and I see the rooms get a little bit bigger than the last time, that for me is enough. That for me is what makes me really happy. And I hope people love it. Of course, I hope people love it and resonate with it. But I think I'd be doing a disservice to myself and to everyone else if I was trying to emulate something that's already happened. And
Very good. I love that
Yeah.
answer. Yes.
All right,
I'm
another
like,
good answer.
Do
Question
us, my
7.
girl. No, that's a great. Seriously, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like you're surrendering.
yeah, there's nothing
to
you
that
can do. You have to
pressure.
let each thing kind of live in its own world. And of course, like, I hope it does better than the last thing that I did, but you can't really hold yourself down to that. As long as I'm creating something new that feels unique to me, and I feel like I'm learning something new and growing from it, great,
Well, this has been great. I mean, I'm good. Yeah. You good, Judy?
No, I have more questions.
Oh, boy.
So I know you recently visited the 6th graders at your middle school. What was that experience like?
It was fun. It was a bit daunting, I have to say. Like, I hadn't been back to primary school since I'd left.
Was there anything special, like Cat in the Hat Day? Did you read
It
Green
wasn't.
Eggs and Ham?
No, unfortunately, no. I do love Green Eggs and Ham.
Come on,
Sam I Am.
Absolutely. Would there be another book without Sam I Am? I mean, that's the best one.
But I went in and I visited my old classroom, and I saw some of my old teachers and my old year 6 teacher who's now the head teacher. It was just surreal to be in there. Everything was so small. I was like, all the little cupboards, and you just don't realize it when you're in it.
Yeah.
But when you're there, you think
But
it's
you're
so
there,
big, right?
yeah. So, but it was really fun. I got a lovely chance to just talk to some of the kids and hang out and ask them some questions, and they asked me some questions. It was lovely. It was so nice. It was like a trip down memory lane.
So you didn't have to dress up. Because usually when I go to schools, I have to dress up like Cat in the Hat, and I have to go, ladies and gentlemen, Green Eggs and Ham.
Well, I'll take that maybe for next time.
Yeah, they love that. The kids love
I'm
it.
sure.
They want to take a picture with you and everything. All right.
If Dua Lipa could say something to her 6th grade self, what would she say?
Just keep doing what you love. I think it's so important. For as long as you love it, keep doing it, because you never know what could happen.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. Judy?
What was your favorite subject?
English.
There's like a ping pong game. My head's the ball. Judy?
I think English, because I love to read.
That's great.
So yeah.
Reading's great.
That's great, which probably makes you a really great songwriter.
I'd like to think so. It definitely helps with the vocabulary and just expanding, perspectives and broadening the horizon. So,
all right.
Yeah.
This is
Judy,
a selfish
yes.
question.
Yes.
I'm going to London in December.
Oh yes.
Where should I go first?
Ooh, that's a good question.
We want to visit where Harry Potter.
No one's
going to
tell me better than you.
Where should you go first? Wow. You know what? I think you should go to Hampstead Heath.
Okay.
It's my favourite park in London. Grab a coffee, go for a walk around there, go all the way to Kenwood House. It's just a beautiful walk. And then there's a pub at the top of the road called the Spaniards Inn.
Are you writing this down?
And
Okay.
well, you can have this recorded, so don't worry. And go and have some fish and chips in the pub.
Perfect.
And it's a perfect day out, and then have a walk around Hampstead High Street, and I feel like that gives you a really sweet, quaint kind of idea of London.
Okay. That's gonna
So
be
do
my
that
Dua
first.
Lipa day in London.
Do that first. That's my favorite kind of Sunday in London.
What about redoing the Abbey Road album with the Beatles, taking our shoes off and walking across?
You got to
Is
do that too.
overrated?
Why not do that? It's cool to go. It's cool to go see that. Those studios are really special. But for me, London has some of the most beautiful parks, and
Cool.
I think definitely go do that.
All right, Judy.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
game
so
over.
much.
We're good.
Thank you so much.
Dua, thank you very much.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun.
Congratulations and continued success on everything.
Thank
you're
you
doing.
so much.
Carolina with Greg T in the morning.
On 103.5 KTU.